what many brands are having to do when they're not really using the correct solution that speaks to their business, they're working outside of it. Many ERPs are not specific enough to the industry, and I think that they really undervalue truly the complexities of what the fashion and apparel industry needs, what the demands are, and what the solutions needed are. And so in manufacturing, there are complexities pertaining to like bills of material throughout the supply chain, but bills of material can get extremely complicated because it speaks to a matrix in the apparel industry that many do not have. Sizing, colorways, fabrics, all of those things profoundly affect what the bill of material looks like. And on a less industry specific and a more standardized ERP, they're not giving you that. And what many brands are having to do when they're not really using the correct solution that speaks to their business, they're working outside of it. They're just finding ways to work outside of it. Or perhaps their provider is simply giving them some workarounds and band-aids that really truly aren't getting to the heart of what their business needs. The workflows throughout the supply chain and the system are very basic, again, not speaking truly to the industry that we're in. And so therefore, these brands, these businesses are having to adapt to more basic workflows that really, again, do not speak to what it is they need and the demands of their customers. And so with that also comes a lot of limited flexibility. Even if you had the support of your software provider, if they don't know the industry, you're going to spend just as much time explaining it to them as it will take for them to actually give you the solution that you need. So here, Avantex, we are, as adults, as career people, fashion industry born and bred. We know we've all worked in the space throughout our careers. It's pretty much all I know. And so we understand the business very well. And so we're not anything that looks like a basic ERP for this industry. So when we don't have a specific apparel industry ERP, what we are battling with is pretty much identified early on, because implementations typically start with your product, right? That's the very foundation of your business, and that's the very foundation of your system. And so when you are identifying your styles, your SKUs, and you're having to translate them into an ERP, you're going to determine pretty early on that you've got some roadblocks and that you've got some challenges. And this is the difference between a traditional ERP that speaks to many industries and Avantex, a very apparel, footwear, textile specific ERP. We are built on SKUs, and everybody knows in the industry what that is, and that is your typical product, your typical style, and how it is married by one top tier silhouette, if you will, a style that can be iterated into many sizes, many colors, dimensions. When you think about shoes, widths, bras, cup size, when you're thinking about your fabrics, when you're thinking about tailoring specific of your silhouette for specific customers exclusively, you have a matrix of so many complexities of how you build that product, but you want it married. You need to report on it. You need to cost on it. You need to keep it married. And so the first telltale sign that this ERP, this non-industry specific ERP, is likely going to be identified pretty early on, because if you're in, parts manufacturing, you typically just have one part per identifier, SKU, stock keeping unit, and with apparel, it's a different animal, it's a different game altogether, and so that is why this makes the difference to have something like Avantex.